प्रसार भारती अभिलेखागार की प्रस्तुति सदाबहार सुनहरे दौर का अनमोल खजाना।
व्यक्ति, परिवार, समाज और राष्ट्र के विकास के लिए शिक्षा की उपयोगिता को नकारा नहीं जा सकता। शिक्षा हमारे बेहतर जीवन और सर्वांगीण विकास के लिए एक मजबूत आधार प्रदान करती है और समय के साथ साथ शैक्षणिक संस्थाओं और पाठ्यक्रमों में बदलाव आते रहे हैं। भारत में शिक्षा और विविध पाठ्यक्रमों के संदर्भ में सीबीएसई यानी केंद्रीय माध्यमिक शिक्षा बोर्ड की अहम भूमिका रही है। सीबीएसई अपनी गौरवमयी यात्रा के 75 वर्ष पूरे करने जा रहा है। मंगलवार 29 जुलाई को 1929 में स्थापित सीबीएसई के प्लेटिनम जुबली वर्ष समारोह का मुख्य कार्यक्रम नई दिल्ली के विज्ञान भवन में आयोजित किया गया। मुख्य अतिथि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी ने दीप प्रज्वलित कर समारोह का उद्घाटन किया।
I now request the Chairman CBSE to kindly welcome the Honorable Union Minister of Human Resource Development, Science and Technology and Ocean Development, Dr. Murli Manohar Desai. And now, a floral welcome to the Honorable Minister of State for Human Resource Development, Dr. Vallabhbhai Pathiraj. And a floral welcome to the Honorable Minister of State for Communications and IT, Shri Su Tirunavukar Sarkar. The children of Mothers International School, New Delhi, will offer a meritorious convergence of praise and glory in the name of the Almighty.
Rama
I request Shri S.K. Tripathi ji, Secretary, Secondary and Higher Education, Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India, who is the controlling authority of the CBSE, to kindly welcome the dignitaries.
Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Minister for Human Resource Development, Honorable Minister of State for Human Resource Development, Honorable Minister of State for Communications and IT, Secretary Department of Post, Chairman CBSE, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We have assembled here today to celebrate the occasion of the entering into the 75th year of the Central Board of Secondary Education. 75 years in the life of any organization is an occasion to stand up and feel proud of. The Central Board of Secondary Education is entering into the conclave of such prominent educational organizations which have richly contributed to the cause of school education in the country. Started in 1929 with Ajmer as its headquarters, with a handful of schools affiliated to it, the board has grown from strength to strength by its sheer performance. The various milestones crossed by CBSE and the peaks of excellence scaled by it are widely acknowledged. A peep into the history of the board reflects the timely response it has been making to the social, economic, cultural, and technological changes it has faced on various occasions. The board has not only grown quantitatively manifold, with its present strength of nearly 6,700 affiliated schools in India and about 103 schools affiliated in 20 other countries, but it has also shown tremendous progress in promoting quality education amongst its schools. Today it stands as an internationally competitive school education board and as a pace setter to other boards of education in this country. The metamorphosis of the board from that of a mere examining agency to that of an educational agency of eminence is a step in the right direction. The endeavor of the board has been not only in establishing academic excellence in school education, but also the pursuit of physical excellence and inculcation of human values. The response of the board to new emerging dimensions of knowledge through its frontline curriculum, new subjects in the field of information technology, integration of such content areas like value education, population education, disaster management in the curriculum, subjects like entrepreneurship and biotechnology are but a few indicators of its vibrancy in the academic world. The inauguration of Shiksha Satna, the new academic building of the board, with the benevolent blessing of the Honorable Prime Minister, is bound to usher in greater creativity and dynamism in the academic functioning of the board. The various examination reforms carried out by the board to bring validity, credibility, and transparency to the system have stood the test of time. The sensitivity shown to the needs of its clientele through helpline programs have enhanced the reputation of the board as a student-friendly organization. The launch of Shiksha Net today, which will interconnect all the affiliated schools over the next couple of months and render student and teacher focused services, is bound to take the board much closer to its clients for working together. Education is a responsible, community-centered, dynamic activity. The board has still miles to go. The board rededicates itself to the nation on its entering the 75th year. It is befitting that the function to celebrate this milestone is graced by our Honorable Prime Minister of India himself. I express my sincere gratitude to him for having consented to spare his valuable time and bless the board on this occasion. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of the board and on behalf of the entire academic community. We have been receiving the guidance and directions of the Honorable Union Minister for Human Resource Development from time to time. His concern and passion for bringing the Indian education to the pinnacle of glory has been a great stimulus for all of us to work with greater enthusiasm and commitment. I also greet him on this important occasion and thank him for his presence. Our sincere thanks are also due to the Honorable Minister for Human Resource Development, Honorable Minister of State for Human Resource Development, for kindly consenting to release the special souvenir today. I also extend a hearty welcome to the Minister of State for Communications and IT, Government of India, and Srimati Padma Balasubramaniam, Secretary Department of Posts, not only for their presence here today, but also for their encouraging gesture in bringing out a special cover on this occasion. A warm welcome to all chairmen of the board, previous chairman of the board, principals from across the country and abroad, eminent educationists, distinguished personalities from various walks of life who have gathered here today to show their association with the board. We are indeed grateful to them for their rich contribution to the growth profile of the board. To conclude, I would only like to reiterate the resolve of the board to work with a sense of renewed dedication, commitment and devotion so as to bring greater glory to its school and students in this globally competitive world. Thank you once again, sir.
The Central Board of Secondary Education has emerged as a pioneering educational agency in the field of school education. भारतीय शिक्षा क्षेत्र में केंद्रीय माध्यमिक शिक्षा बोर्ड का एक अद्वितीय और अतुलनीय स्थान है. A brief multimedia presentation on the profile of the CBSE is now being brought to you.
Asito ma sadgamaya tamso ma jyotirgamaya mrityo ma amritam gamaya.
Education is a lifelong process that begins with the birth of a child. It opens unfathomed oceans of knowledge to the learner and prepares the individual for a purposeful and responsible life. Secondary education plays a significant role in harmonizing academic, physical, and human excellence. The Central Board of Secondary Education, popularly known as CBSE, is a premier institution with the distinction of being the second oldest board of our country. It was set up 74 years ago at Ajmer in 1929 by a special resolution of the Government of India. In 1962, the headquarters of the CBSE was shifted to Delhi. Since then, the board has grown to nearly 6,700 affiliated schools, with about 100 schools situated in 20 different countries. One of the major strengths of the CBSE is that it addresses heterogeneity. It comprises independent private schools, Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas, Kendriya Vidyalayas, army schools, Sainik schools, Central Tibetan School and government schools. The board has decentralized its operations through 6 regional offices across the country. One of the biggest strengths of the CBSE is the uniformity and undifferentiated pattern of education. All CBSE schools follow a single curriculum framework.
हमारा देश विशाल और विविध है और राज्यों की भी अपनी अपनी परीक्षा पद्धतियां हैं, उनके बोर्ड हैं, लेकिन देश को एक ऐसी संस्था की आवश्यकता है कि जो समान पाठ्यक्रम सभी राज्यों में और सभी विद्यालयों के लिए प्रस्तुत कर सके. CBSE एक ऐसी संस्था है जो ये काम बखूबी कर रही है.
The board offers adequate flexibility and freedom to the students through a wide choice of subjects at the senior secondary level. The curriculum offered by the CBSE comprises a variety of languages, academic and vocational subjects. There is ample scope for a student to pursue music, dance, painting, fine arts and sculpture. Constant innovation and renewal of the curriculum prepares students to meet global challenges. The learning methodologies of the languages have undergone a complete change with the adoption of the communicative approach. CBSE has also pioneered curriculum renewal by adopting a frontline curriculum approach, wherein current knowledge dynamics are introduced 10% at a time and simultaneously replacing the obsolete one. Sensing the future needs of the younger generation, the board has made timely curricular interventions by the introduction of subjects like entrepreneurship and biotechnology. The board has responded meaningfully to the challenges of information technology. It has introduced 3 different elective subjects at the +2 level: computer science, informatics practices, and web and multimedia technology. To ensure the holistic development of learners, the board has adopted an interdisciplinary approach in integrating value education, environment education, consumer education, and population and adolescence education across the curriculum. To facilitate the emotional empowerment of the learners through a process of introspection, critical thinking, and creativity, the board has introduced life skill education from the formative years of schooling. The emphasis is not only on a better quality of life, but also on a higher quality of life. The board is also preparing future citizens of the country to face problems that individuals and society have not addressed so far. The introduction of disaster management as an integral part of the curriculum is a step in this direction. CBSE has introduced physical and health education as a subject both in scholastic and co-scholastic areas. Today, CBSE's competitive sports program is one of the most organized sports activities at the school level in the country. Over the years, CBSE has brought about many examination reforms. The CBSE examination covers cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains. It has already introduced continuous and comprehensive evaluation at the secondary level. This system of evaluation is being extended to the entire spectrum of school education. Besides conducting Class 10 and 12 examinations, CBSE also conducts All India Pre-Medical and Pre-Dental Entrance Examination and All India Engineering Entrance Examination for admission into engineering, architecture, and pharmacy courses. Over the years, the board has emerged as a student-friendly organization. The CBSE Helpline is a service that provides much-needed counseling and guidance both to students and parents.
CBSE Helpline.
इन उपायों से हमें आशा है कि बच्चों में ज्ञान की अभिवृद्धि होगी, उनका मूल्यांकन उचित होगा और उनमें एक अच्छे ज्ञानी छात्र बनने के सभी गुणों का विकास होगा.
Empowerment of teachers and heads of institutions to face the emerging challenges is an area which the board has taken up. CBSE has made collaborative efforts with leading organizations to provide training in strategic leadership for heads of institutions. The journey is long. The march is on. There are many more peaks to scale. Our commitment stands.
The glorious journey of 75 years of the Central Board of Secondary Education is marked by many path-breaking initiatives, curricular innovations, examination reforms, and other peaks of excellence achieved. The fond remembrances and the milestones are compiled in the Platinum Jubilee souvenir being released on this occasion. May I now request the Honorable Minister of State, Dr. Vallabhbhai Kathiria ji, to kindly release the Platinum Jubilee souvenir. Thank you, sir. We are grateful to the Department of Posts for having consented to release a special cover on this occasion. May I request Shri C. Su Thirunavukar, sir, Honorable State Minister for Communications and IT, to kindly request the Honorable Prime Minister to release the special cover dedicated to the Platinum Jubilee year of CBSE. Thank you, sir. May I now call upon Shri Su Thirunavukar, sir, Honorable State Minister for Communications and IT, to kindly address this august gathering.
Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, Honorable Minister for Human Resource Development, Dr. Murali Manohar Soji ji, Honorable Minister of State, Shri Katria ji, respected Chairman of the CBSE, Shri Ganguly, Secretaries and officers of the Ministry of Human Resources and the Postal Department, dignitaries and ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to participate in this evening's Platinum Jubilee function of the CBSE. I cannot help but wonder how the founders of this great institution could have visualized, conceptualized, and put in action such a wonderful academic structure that to 75 years ago, at a time when the nation itself was adrift and confused and busy ironing out contradictions and conflicts between states, languages, regions, and religions, and facing the agony of the battle for independence. I salute the founders of the CBSE for their vision and foresight. The role of the CBSE in providing quality school education of international standards to urban middle class children for 7 generations is indeed nation building of the highest order. Each year, in more than 6,700 CBSE institutions spread throughout the country and in 100 schools abroad, lakhs of students pass out, and each student turning out to be a symbol of excellence, a bundle of knowledge, an epitome of confidence, and a personification of an ideal Indian youth. The uniqueness of the CBSE is that it is created in India, developed in India, fine-tuned in India, modified in India, improvised in India, and proved as a foolproof educational system of international standard. Hence, it's no surprise that the CBSE curriculum is being followed by many countries outside India. Yes, they have silently, without fanfare, exported a perfected technology of academic training, ideally suited for school children in all developing countries. That many developing countries have decided to throw away the GCE London courses in favor of the CBSE is the biggest tribute that the international community has paid to the founding fathers of CBSE. I'm happy to note that most of the IT professionals who have contributed to India becoming a global IT power are those who have followed the CBSE curriculum. It is more gratifying to note that the profile of students entering civil services or those entering professional courses will depict the might of the CBSE students. While today we wish to publicly recognize the role of the CBSE, the nation's development, the Postal Department is happy to etch into posterity their unparalleled contribution. At this juncture, I wish to emphasize that it was our beloved Prime Minister, Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, who brought a legislation in Parliament by which education up to the age of 14 has been made compulsory for Indian children, which was until then only a policy in the directive principles. The Indian Postal Department, which is the largest government network in the world, feels proud today in associating with this function by way of releasing a special cover to mark the Platinum Jubilee celebration of the CBSE. The presence of our Honorable Prime Minister in this evening's function is a true testimony to the importance he attaches for the cause of education and human resource development, and thus genuine concern he has for the welfare of the future and future generations. Thank you.
The CBSE believes in the concept of caring and sharing. The technological environment of the day calls for intensive networking. The launch of ShikshaNet is a step in this direction. हम माननीय केंद्रीय मंत्री मानव संसाधन विकास, विज्ञान एवं प्रौद्योगिकी मंत्रालय तथा महासागर विकास विभाग से अनुरोध करते हैं कि वे ShikshaNet को कार्यान्वित करने की कृपा करें।
The world as we know it has changed forever. Information technology and a dynamic knowledge society have impacted knowledge management systems at their foundations. All welfare organizations have to update and modify their working styles and strategies. ShikshaNet is CBSE's response to this change, a vibrant knowledge management system for the school education sector. ShikshaNet intends to reach out to clients and provide them with a mouse click access to the gamut of CBSE's educational interests and all the information in the knowledge base. ShikshaNet will be a network of networks, a mini-universe of easily accessible data linking networks from all the affiliated schools. If that were not enough, there is more. ShikshaNet will be an intranet for the board to practice e-governance within the organization and an extranet for effective information exchange with all stakeholders and schools. ShikshaNet will provide a cornucopia of services including e-communication, video conferencing and enhanced student counseling. Structured like a call center, ShikshaNet aims at fast and meaningful communication through trained personnel. ShikshaNet will also be a forum for the exchange of teacher training inputs and the conveying of relevant academic changes and contributions. The best minds in the industry will be employed by the board to achieve its ends, synergizing the hardware and the software base. ShikshaNet, a confident step into the very present future.
हम माननीय मंत्री जी से सविनय निवेदन करते हैं कि वे इस सभा को संबोधित करें।
सम्माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी, मेरे मंत्रालय में राज्य मंत्री डॉक्टर कथीरिया जी, दूरसंचार विभाग के राज्य मंत्री श्री तिरुनावुक्करसर जी, शिक्षा विभाग के सचिव श्री एस.के. त्रिपाठी, दूरसंचार विभाग में सचिव श्रीमती पद्मा सुब्रमण्यम और इस केंद्रीय माध्यमिक शिक्षा बोर्ड के सचिव श्री गांगुली जी। केंद्रीय माध्यमिक शिक्षा बोर्ड के प्लैटिनम जुबली समारोह में सम्मिलित होने वाले आप सभी बहनों और भाइयों, मुझे आज इस समारोह में सम्मिलित होने में बहुत प्रसन्नता है और मैं व्यक्तिगत रूप से माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का बहुत आभारी हूँ कि आपने इस अवसर पर CBSE द्वारा आयोजित किए जा रहे समारोह तथा बोर्ड के नए अकादमिक भवन के उद्घाटन के लिए स्वीकृति प्रदान की और समय निकालकर आप यहाँ पधारे। शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जिस प्रकार का निर्देश हमें दिया और जो भी कुछ पिछले 5-6 वर्षों में शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में भारत ने अग्रणी स्थान प्राप्त किया, वो माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के शिक्षा, बाल शिक्षा और विशेषकर महिलाओं की, पिछड़े लोगों की शिक्षा के प्रति जो उनका एक सतत ध्यान रहा है और उसके प्रति जो उनकी संवेदना रही है, उसका ही परिणाम है। आज बोर्ड द्वारा देश भर में माध्यमिक शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में किए गए महत्वपूर्ण योगदान तथा अपने देश की विद्यालयी शिक्षा की पहचान अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर स्थापित करने हेतु किए जा रहे इन सराहनीय प्रयासों के लिए मैं बोर्ड को भी बधाई देता हूं। मैं इस अवसर पर श्री तिरुनावुक्करसर जी का भी आभार प्रकट करता हूं कि उन्होंने आज के इस अवसर पर हमारे लिए एक बहुत सुंदर डाक विभाग के द्वारा प्रथम दिवस कवर ये आज यहाँ प्रधानमंत्री जी के द्वारा उसको उन्होंने लोकार्पित किया। बहुत सुंदर बनाया है और वो एक प्रकार से दूरसंचार विभाग का भी जो इस हमारे कार्यक्रम के प्रति स्नेह है उसका प्रतीक है। बोर्ड के इतिहास पर एक झलक से ये स्पष्ट दृष्टिगोचर होता है कि बोर्ड प्रारंभिक दिनों से ही अनेक परिवर्तनों और चुनौतियों का सामना करता रहा है। वर्ष 1929 में राजपूताना, मध्य भारत तथा ग्वालियर के संयुक्त बोर्ड के रूप में स्थापित ये बोर्ड उथल पुथल और परिवर्तनों के दौर से गुजरते हुए 1962 में एक राष्ट्रीय संगठन के रूप में परिणत होकर पुनर्गठित हुआ। बोर्ड के पुनर्गठन के समय केवल 3 शैक्षिक संस्थान ही इससे संबद्ध थे, जो आज इस परिवार में 6,800 से भी अधिक विद्यालय विधिवत संबद्धता प्राप्त हैं। स्पष्ट है कि CBSE ने एक लंबा सफर तय किया है। पिछले कुछ वर्षों से बोर्ड मात्र परीक्षा तथा प्रमाण पत्र प्रदान करने वाली एजेंसी की भूमिका से बाहर निकलकर राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर एक बहुआयामी शैक्षिक संगठन के रूप में उभर कर आया है। निस्संदेह बोर्ड अपने कार्यों में निरंतर प्रगतिशील रहा है और विगत 74 वर्ष के लंबे अंतराल में बोर्ड द्वारा विद्यालयी पाठ्यक्रम, अध्यापन तथा परीक्षा सुधार के क्षेत्र में नए नए परिवर्तन और अभिनव प्रयोग किए गए हैं। आपको ये जानकर प्रसन्नता होगी कि बोर्ड ने कक्षा 8 तक की बच्चों के लिए परीक्षा समाप्त कर रखी है। इस बोर्ड के बच्चों को कक्षा 8 तक कोई परीक्षा नहीं देनी पड़ती है। और इसी तरह से जो हमारे NCERT के नए पाठ्यक्रम में पुस्तकों का निर्माण हुआ, उनसे बच्चों के बस्तों का बोझ भी बहुत कम कर दिया गया है। सामान्य तौर पर हर परिवार से हमें शिकायत मिलती थी कि बच्चों का बोझ बहुत है, बस्तों से उनको बहुत अधिक भय लगता है और परीक्षा तो एक बहुत ही डरावना उनके लिए स्वप्न रहता था। हम ये अंकों के स्थान पर ग्रेड की प्रणाली को प्रचालित करेंगे और मेरा ये सुझाव है कि कम से कम इस अगले वर्ष के सत्र में कक्षा 10 में तो कम से कम बोर्ड इसी ग्रेड की प्रणाली को शुरू कर दे। और मैं देश के अन्य सभी परीक्षा बोर्डों से ये अपील करूँगा कि वो बच्चों के ऊपर बस्तों का बोझ और परीक्षा का दबाव ये कम करें और इस प्रणाली को और अगर बोर्ड भी स्वीकार करेंगे तो मैं समझता हूँ देश के बच्चों का और शिक्षा प्रणाली का बहुत बड़ा उपकार होगा। मैं चाहता हूँ कि भारत के आने वाली पीढ़ी एक रचनात्मक सृजनात्मक प्रतिभा की पीढ़ी हो। उस अपनी रचनाधर्मिता से और अपनी सृजनात्मकता से देश और विश्व मानवता के लिए उपयोगी नागरिक बनकर विश्व में अपना एक महत्वपूर्ण स्थान प्राप्त कर सके, ये हमारी सबकी आकांक्षा है। वर्तमान शिक्षा व्यवस्था में जीवन की वास्तविक परिस्थितियों से जूझने के लिए यद्यपि कई महत्वपूर्ण तत्व शामिल हैं, लेकिन फिर भी कुछ ऐसे आधारभूत मानवीय गुणों से आज की प्रणाली वंचित है जिनसे हमारे बच्चों के सुकोमल मन में सार्वजनिक मूल्य स्थापित नहीं हो पा रहे हैं। अन्य विषयों के साथ साथ नैतिक तथा मूल्यपरक संकल्पनाओं को पाठ्यक्रम में समाहित किया जाना चाहिए ताकि हमारी भावी पीढ़ी आधारभूत मूल्य व्यवस्था को जारी रखने में सक्षम हो सके। मैं एक और सुझाव इस अवसर पर देना चाहूँगा कि बोर्ड कुछ ऐसे भी पाठ्यक्रमों की रचना करे कि जो एक दूसरे से बिल्कुल जुड़े हुए हों, जिन्हें हम इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी पाठ्यक्रम कहते हैं। अर्थात कोई ज़रूरी नहीं है कि बच्चा एक ही प्रकार के पाठ्यक्रमों को पढ़े, जो फिजिक्स पढ़ता है वो बायोलॉजी न पढ़े, या वो इकोनॉमिक्स न पढ़े, या वो मानविकी न पढ़े। ऐसे कुछ पाठ्यक्रमों की रचना आज होनी चाहिए कि जो एक मस्तिष्क में इस बात के लिए उसको प्रेरित करें कि सारे विषय मिल के जीवन संपूर्ण जीवन बनता है। भूमंडलीकरण ने भी शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में अंतर्राष्ट्रीय प्रतिस्पर्धा का मार्ग खोला है, जिसका गंभीर प्रभाव पड़ रहा है। यद्यपि हमें भूमंडलीय परिवर्तनों की चुनौती का सामना करने के लिए उसी शक्ति और भावना से कार्य करने की आवश्यकता है, किंतु ये सुनिश्चित करना भी उतना ही महत्वपूर्ण है कि देश की शिक्षा व्यवस्था की जड़ें भारतीय संस्कृति के साथ भी सुदृढ़ रूप से जुड़ी रहें। ये भी बहुत हर्ष का विषय है कि सीबीएसई अकादमिक तथा परीक्षा सुधार के क्षेत्र में बहुत से प्रशंसनीय प्रयास कर चुका है और एक विद्यार्थी हितैषी के रूप में उभर रहा है। शिक्षा नेट की शुरुआत एक उचित दिशा में उठाया गया बहुत सकारात्मक कदम है। मेरा विश्वास है कि इस कदम से बोर्ड का आंतरिक प्रबंधन भी सुधरेगा और अध्यापन की एक नई विधा भी विकसित होगी, जिसमें अच्छे से अच्छा अध्यापक कहीं भी बैठा हो उसका लाभ बोर्ड के सारे विद्यालय उठा सकेंगे। मैं बोर्ड को इसके लिए बधाई देने के साथ ये सुझाव देना चाहता हूँ कि इसे सफल तथा आदर्श नेटवर्क बनाने के लिए वे अपने सभी संसाधन लगाएं, ताकि देश की अन्य अकादमिक एजेंसियों के लिए ये एक अनुकरणीय उदाहरण बन सके। मुझे विश्वास है कि आप सभी प्रतिबद्धता और समर्पण की भावना से इसी प्रकार अथक प्रयास करने के लिए सदैव तत्पर रहेंगे तथा इस व्यापक दृष्टिकोण सहित मिशन भावना के संकल्प से बोर्ड भविष्य में महान सफलताएं अर्जित करता रहेगा। मैं पुनः माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी और श्री तिरुनावुक्कर सर जी का विशेष आभार व्यक्त करता हूं कि वो इस आयोजन में पधारे और हम सबका मार्गदर्शन करेंगे, जिससे कि बोर्ड और हम सब शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में और दृढ़ता के साथ आगे बढ़ सकेंगे। धन्यवाद।
हम माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी से सविनय निवेदन करते हैं कि वे शिक्षा सदन का उद्घाटन करने की कृपा करें। It is indeed our proud privilege to request the Honorable Prime Minister to address the August House.
My colleagues Dr. Joshi, Dr. Kathirida, Shri Thirunavukkar Sir, Shri Tripathi, Shri Ganguly, Srimati Bala Subramanian, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to inaugurate the Platinum Jubilee celebrations of the Central Board of Secondary Education and to declare open the Shiksha Sadan, the academic wing of the board. I offer my hearty felicitations to all members of the CBSE family on this occasion. Over the years, many eminent educationists, administrators, and teachers have contributed to the high reputation the board enjoys today. This is an occasion to remember all of them with gratitude. Your board occupies an honored and, if I may add, coveted place in the landscape of school education in India. CBSE has become a byword for quality education. Yours is not only the largest educational board in the country, but it has also been in the forefront of setting high standards for secondary education. Those who have studied in schools affiliated to your board have gone on to render distinguished service to the nation in various capacities. Another thing unique about your board is that it provides a national identity to the students and teachers who wear the proud badge of CBSE. Of course, the educational boards of various states also impart a national outlook in their own way, even as they create understanding about the history, culture, and ethos of their respective regions among their students. India is a wonderful illustration of unity in diversity. It is necessary for our boys and girls to develop, right from their school years, a sound knowledge of India's age-old unity as well as her immense and manifold diversities. Secondary education is an interesting phase of transition and development in a child's life. It is a period when a student gradually leaves behind his or her childhood and eagerly awaits to become a young man or woman. It is time when the body and the mind of the child grow rapidly, absorbing a wide variety of knowledge and influences. It is an impressionable age, which means that what the child receives at this age, intellectually as well as emotionally, stays with the person for long years. The child begins to understand the difference between the good and the bad, the right and the wrong, the just and the unjust. Hence, secondary education should impart both knowledge and values to children, stimulating their intellectual capacity as well as enriching their personality with proper sanskars. I am told that modern educational experts also stress the importance of a child's emotional development during the stage of secondary education. They emphasize that a school education should give as much emphasis to the development of a child's emotional quotient as to his or her intelligence quotient. This is the age when a student should be helped to internalize qualities such as courage, caring, sacrifice, voluntary service, standing up for the right cause, and cooperating with others for the common good. This will enable the child to grow into a sound and well-balanced personality who can confidently cope with the challenges of life as a grown-up. Both parents and teachers have an important responsibility in this regard. I can tell you that if I am what I am today, it is primarily because of the education I received both at home and in the school. The fact that my father was a school teacher further helped me both as a child and as a student, which brings me to a highly incisive observation contained in the Kothari Commission's report on the development of education in India. The report says that, I quote, "The destiny of a nation is decided in her classrooms." Quotation closed. How well said. I would like everybody to associated with education, primary, secondary, college, or university education, to mull over these profound words. Speaking about classrooms, I have to say that the atmosphere in many schools is not quite conducive to learning as a joyful activity. These days, both parents and teachers put too much stress on learning by rote. for the sole purpose of doing well in exams. This naturally makes studies a boring and burdensome activity for children. By their very nature, children are creative. They like spontaneity and they like to enjoy whatever they do. Many of you might have seen the video song School Chale Hum, which is being shown on TV channels. It very well captures the natural exuberance that a child feels at the thought of going to school. If students are made a fun, studies are made a fun and playful activity. I congratulate the HR Ministry for sponsoring the creative film. When studies are made enjoyable, students absorb 100 times more than if they are a dull and routine exercise. I think that our education planners, administrators, school managements and teachers should work together to change this situation. Friends, today I would like to touch upon another important task before us in the field of school education, and that is the urgent need to raise the standards of school education, both primary and secondary, in our country. When I see the high standards of CBSE schools, I am even more strongly reminded of the large gap between a small number of good schools and the large number of average schools. Today, understanding, concern, and demand for quality education is growing in all sections of our society. Even poor parents want their child to get admission in a good school, but there just do not seem to be adequate number of good schools. This gap between demand and supply creates a lot of tension in families at the start of every school admission season. I can tell you that even ministers and MPs receive hundreds of requests for securing admission into Kendriya Vidyalayas and other good schools. Clearly, we need to find a quick and effective solution to this problem. I am told that we have nearly 1 million secondary schools in the country with a student strength that exceeds 10 million. This means that a large number of schools have the basic physical infrastructure. With some improvement in facilities and greater focus on better teaching, it is possible to raise a large number of secondary schools to a much higher standard. Today, parents are willing to pay more for quality education. As it is, many of them spend a good sum of money on private tuition for their children. Therefore, it is possible, certainly possible, to devise a plan to achieve a quantitative jump in quality in secondary education in a short time. I urge the Ministry of Human Resource Development, in cooperation with the education ministries of state governments, to prepare and implement a strategy to achieve this goal. As we all know, the HRD Ministry has shown exemplary determination to promote the cause of universalization of elementary education by launching the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. It is the largest ever educational program since independence. I compliment Dr. Joshi and his colleagues for this ambitious project, which will make India a fully literate nation in a short time. The ministry has shown that where there is will, there is a way. Let us therefore show the same will and determination in vastly expanding the number of affordable secondary schools with high standards. As the CBSE celebrates its Platinum Jubilee, it is also a time for it to chart its path for the future. I am told that the ministry is planning to substantially increase the number of Kendriya Vidyalayas. It is good that partnership with reputed non-governmental educational institutions is also being contemplated for this purpose. I commend this initiative. Another opportunity before the CBSE in the coming years is to expand its presence overseas. Quality education is rapidly emerging as a global enterprise. On the strength of the high reputation that CBSE enjoys, you can set up many more new schools or provide affiliations abroad, especially where there is a big concentration of people belonging to the Indian diaspora. I am confident that in the years and decades to come, CBSE will grow from strength to strength, adopting all the new developments and technologies in education, but always being rooted in the core purpose of education. With these words, I once again congratulate your board for crossing a proud milestone in its long and illustrious journey. May you cross many more milestones of achievement and make a greater contribution to India's emergence as a strong, prosperous, and self-confident nation. Thank you.
सब कुछ देकर कुछ न मांगते, पावस बनकर ढलना होगा, कदम मिलाकर चलना होगा. Sir, the CBSE is highly indebted to you for your guidance and words of wisdom. We assure you that this occasion will set the tone for many more academic innovation. I now call upon the Chairman CBSE, Shri Ashok Ganguly ji, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Most respected Honorable Prime Minister of India, esteemed Honorable Union Minister for Human Resource Development and Technology and Ocean Development, distinguished Honorable Minister of State for Communications and Information Technology, respected Honorable Minister of State, Human Resource Development, eminent educationist, former Chairman of CBSE, dear colleagues, principals, teachers, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a moment of great privilege for me to stand amidst this august gathering to propose the vote of thanks. It was Swami Vivekananda who once said, "All the strength and success you want is within yourself. Therefore, make your own future." And at this inaugural functions of the Platinum Jubilee celebrations of the Central Board of Secondary Education, all of us, I am sure, can appreciate this inner strength, vitality, and robustness of the board that has not only sustained it, but has also stimulated it to evolve into a national institution as it stands today. With inspiring support from all the stakeholders, including the Government of India, the benign guidance of the Minister of Honorable Human Resource Development, and the ever-increasing synergy of member schools, the board is confident of making its own future, charting a path to fulfill the aspiration of the people of the country. I am indeed grateful to the Honorable Prime Minister of India for his gracious presence and his words of wisdom. The words of Honorable Prime Ministers have really motivated us and given us a newer perspective and directions. We have taken your concern for urgent need to raise the standard of primary and secondary education in India, and I am assuring you that the board will address more meaningfully about the equity and excellence in secondary education. Sir, we assure you that with your inspiring leadership and guidance, we commit ourselves to the goals you have defined on this occasion. The Honorable Minister for HRD, Dr. Murli Manohar Joshi ji, has always been a guiding light for us and has encouraged us in all our endeavors and ventures. The Honorable Minister has expressed his concern about the quality of the science teaching and the declining interest in the subjects of humanities. He has also have a concern about the pass and fail system in the examinations and the enormous loss associated with it. We are grateful to him for focusing on the implementations of the grading system in our examination. We will implement all these things and will also implement the curriculum based on interdisciplinary approach and the hybrid subject areas that you have just mentioned. It is in this context we assure you also, sir, that the Central Board of Secondary Education will nurture human excellence, provide inputs of global knowledge, at the same time facilitating our students to remain deep-rooted in Indian culture. The Shiksha.net launched by you, sir, is a positive technological input to the board to render better services to its stakeholders, even to the remotest part of the countryside. Sir, we are grateful to you for your guidance and advice. I am grateful to Sri Honorable Minister of State for Communications and Information Technology, Sri Thruna Vukar sir ji, for having graced the occasions. I also thank Dr. Kathiria ji, Honorable Minister of State for HRD, for his benign presence and for having released the souvenir. I also offer my heartfelt thanks to Srimati Padma Balasubramaniam, Secretary, Department of Posts, and her colleagues in the department for having facilitated the release of a special postal cover on these landmark occasions. My grateful thanks to S.K. Tripathi ji, Secretary, Secondary and Higher Education, MHRD, and the controlling authority of the CBSE, who has continuously been guiding the CBSE on its march towards progress. I thank the officials of the MHRD for their continued support. The beginning of the Platinum Jubilee year marks a series of events that will nurture academic and human excellence through education. Please join and support us in this journey. Thank you all once again.
समय के साथ साथ सीबीएसई ने अपने मूल स्वरूप को बनाए रखते हुए आवश्यक परिवर्तन भी किए हैं। उद्देश्य केवल एक है, विद्यार्थियों को उत्तम तथा व्यावहारिक शिक्षा प्रदान करना।